Hey everyone, welcome to I think it's episode I always forget. It's episode 9 I think of what do you know about business? And this is the podcast where we are supposed to be 5 women entrepreneurs. We're supposed to be 6 tonight. Now we're only at 4, so who knows where we're going to end up. Where we talk lessons learned in life and business. I'm your host, Erin Smith. Just a few notes before we get started. You can always find us, even the conversation will keep going on after this hour, over at bit.ly/know, K-N-O-W, business. And we will be always over there talking. The group's always over there, so if you want to hang out with us, come join our Facebook group where we're talking. We are on iTunes now, so I would forever appreciate a rating and review and a subscribe just to keep us going. So welcome, Alissa. I just saw Alissa join too. We will go around the table. Please introduce yourself and what you're drinking, if you're drinking anything, because this is happy hour. And we will also discuss what is your favorite holiday tradition, since we are 2 days upon Christmas in the middle of Hanukkah. So, Alissa, I'm going to go with you first because I see you in my feed. So go ahead, introduce yourself, tell us what you're drinking, and what your favorite holiday tradition is.
Oh, hi everybody. I am not drinking right now. I just got 2 kids to bed, so I'm celebrating the fact that I have me time and I've been able to put on makeup. And my favorite tradition at holiday time is making a give list, making a list of all the people I want to give presents to. I've got my daughter involved now, and it's really exciting to be able to go and fill bags of goodies with things to get in the spirit.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, Megan, you're up next.
Well, I'm drinking my tangerine lime flavored Noon, which is just water with electrolytes. My favorite holiday tradition, well, I have to say I'm a wrapping paper junkie. There's my dog, he's chiming in too. And so I love wrapping presents. I think I love giving presents more than I like getting them. So that's one of my favorite things.
Okay, I'm going to have you come over and wrap my presents for me then.
All wrapping paper, coordinating bows. I can only buy as much wrapping paper each year as I use up, so I'm up to being able to buy 5 rolls when they go at least 75% clearance. That's my bargain threshold.
That's awesome. And Megan, what's your business too?
College prep results. I work with high school students and their families on navigating the college admissions process. So test prep, applications.
Awesome. Okay, and Lauren, I have you in my feed. Welcome. We didn't get a chance to welcome you before the call, but feel free to introduce yourself, what your business is, and your favorite holiday tradition.
Sure. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. My business is called Inspiring Mama, and I help moms live happier and easier. I'm a personal growth junkie and love aggregating and researching, and so I am out researching stuff, and I am teaching it to moms in a way that's easy to understand and quick through a podcast. So, and let's see, my favorite holiday tradition, I love to cook. I love cooking, and so I really love cooking with my family, and that's one thing I've been working on with my daughter. She's not even 2 yet, but I've got her kind of on a stool in the kitchen, and she pretends to cook, and so cooking makes me happy, and especially cooking with my mom or someone in my family, and that's what the holidays to me are about, or making cookies or making a turkey or something like that. So, yeah.
Awesome. All right, Ms. Chandra, you are next.
Hi, I'm Chandra Ackberger. I can be found all over the interwebs, but I'm found at chandrainc.com, and I am sipping on a Mexican coffee, so coffee with tequila. I'm going to do it up here because we're in the middle of holiday insanity overwhelm, but I really enjoy baking with my kids and my family, baking sugar cookies in particular. I just got the recipe for my great-grandmother's Stollen, which is a German Christmas bread, and I'm going to give it an attempt this year where it's usually been just done by generations before. So we shall see.
Did you list your business?
Chandra Inc., and I am a serial entrepreneur with a passion for being an artist. So very soon my photography and artwork will be up for sale on Chandra Inc., but it's where I can be found for everything from shows to artwork. So, and parenting and homeschooling.
Just a few things that you're doing.
Just a couple of things.
All right, Andrea, how about you?
Andrea Trevelyan with takeasmartstep.com, and I do small business financial coaching and personal coaching. Tonight I am drinking very similar to what Shonda's drinking, but I am drinking straight up Patron, but they're coffee flavored Patron. So cheers to the tequila. And yes, they actually make straight coffee Patron. So you don't need the coffee. And my favorite holiday tradition is a newer one that we've started with just my immediate family, and the night before we actually go out for a really nice dinner and church, and that way the next day we can sleep in and don't have to be anywhere. So I don't have to cook, and we can just lounge around the next day.
Awesome. Well, I am Erin Smith. I'm with the Starters Club. I'm all about helping people start their businesses, and I'm drinking wine. I opened a bottle. It's Christmas. I got some work to do, but that's okay.
Awesome.
But JJ will be home soon. And my favorite, like Chandra, it's all about baking cookies. I loved it. I had my mom's cookbook. I asked her to bring it so I could take some recipes out, and then I never gave it back to her. So I was going through and making these sugar cookies that I love as a kid. It's my grandma, as psychotic as she was, she would make all these cookies, and that's the one thing I bring with me is just all these cookies. But we baked a whole bunch of cookies today. We're going to bring them to the firefighters tomorrow. We're going to go to a couple fire stations. I have discovered, though, if you want to see my neurotic side, watch me decorate cookies with my 3-year-old. I'm like, no, you don't do that. Oh, God, no, don't do that. Yeah. So, a little stressful holiday fun. So, but definitely one of my favorite traditions of the holidays. So, now is the time where we go around where everybody talks about a lesson they learned in business. It can be anything from an app that they found, a great website that they found that makes their life easier, or just they learned the hard way that they need to make more time for their family, or whatever it is. It's all about just making you feel a little bit normal here so you're not so crazy, because we all go through it, and just always love to learn what others are doing in their business and lessons learned, kind of like a mini mastermind. So I'm going to go in the same order. Alyssa, I'm going to start with you, and I'm not sure if you gave us your business. If you did, I apologize. Okay, so say your business, and then tell us a lesson that you learned this week, and we'll just chime in. Lauren and Megan, for you, just feel free to chime in when any input you have on that, or question you have, or whatever, and we just kind of talk about this, and then we'll go on a round table as everybody talks about what they learned. So Alyssa, it's all you.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me on. Thanks for being flexible with me as I learn the format. So my business is I'm a consultress, helping people determine their inner differentiation, kind of like their primer to marketing, so that the words they say attract the right people, they spend their time in the right places, so we don't run the hamster wheel. I learned that the hard way. It feels like I learn it over and over and over again, so that I can pay it forward more deeply every time. But this week was becoming more authentic in how I wanted to serve my network, and jumped in to a really great program called the Power Partners Initiative, and I was scared to make phone calls to invite the people that I love doing business with, who are awesome. But I don't know, I had this resistance thing because I didn't have the place booked yet, and I knew I was going to have to ask somebody. So my hard-won lesson this week is to get out of my perfectionist own way and just hit the ground running, get the momentum, keep it moving, and within like hours of keeping it moving, rather than being stuck and resisting for 7 days, I had a location booked. I had people saying yes, and I felt like better than I had been stressed out and worrying about all week long.
It's interesting. So what is it like? And you're happy with the outcome, or are you still like, are you upset that you let your perfectionist go and you're like, I settled?
No, it felt like a release. I felt like this burst of momentum. So not only with the initiative I'm bringing to the table in January for my network here locally in New York, but it felt like every other project that I had on the table suddenly like took fire and came to life. It was beautiful. It was like, oh.
No, I agree. I don't know if anybody else suffers from it, but I'm a bad perfectionist. I don't know anybody else.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I was going to tell you when with your thing, Erin, that perfectionists shouldn't have children. That would be pretty much like all of us probably. But yeah, that's huge. Good for you. That's so awesome. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Done is better than perfect. It's been my mantra since the beginning of 2013, and I have to remind myself that every single day. But that's so awesome for you to get past that. And it'll come up again.
Of course.
Trust me.
I'm on the merry-go-round. I see that scene again.
Andrew, did you have anything to say too? I saw you chime in earlier.
I was just agreeing.
All right. Well, good lesson learned. I'm bad about it. I know. I'd say the done thing too, and I've let the little things not get to me. It's like if something went out with a misspelling, it's not the end of the world. Nobody died. Everybody's okay. I'll fix it. So I'm totally of the same mindset. All right, Megan, we are on you. What is a lesson that you learned this week?
Well, I can't say that I had many things this week because I've been on vacation for the most of the week. Most of my students took either the ACT last weekend or the SAT 2 weekends ago, or they're already done with their college applications. That's my dog, Charlie. He wants to chime in. He doesn't bark until I start doing something we're recording.
Absolutely. It's the rules of dogs, believe me.
But kind of reflecting back on this year, I think the biggest thing that I learned is that in small business, where so much of what I'm marketing is me and my expertise, it's really hard to bring in somebody else to help work. So I've teach some SAT classes locally. I also do individual tutoring in person and on Skype. And I know on the individual work, people want me. But I've been experimenting in the last year or so with bringing in some other people to help teach the SAT classes. And I would just say it's hard to find good people in the absence of cloning myself. So I think I've got somebody who's working now. I've had a couple people in the past year who didn't work so well. And it can be difficult to find that out and then to let go of someone. So that's would be my lesson for the year.
So before everybody joined, Chandra and I were just having this conversation, how hard it is to hire, how important it is. So what would you say? Have you switched interviewing tactics? Have you switched, what you ask for, how you're specific about things? What are some specific lessons learned that you've done since hiring your first person and failing to hiring the person that you feel is a good fit?
One of the things that I would say is good is that I'm working with people on a contract basis. So I'm hiring them to teach an 8-week class. I'm not married to them. So after that 8-week class, if things don't work out, I'm not having to go through the entire process of firing somebody. We can just agree that we're not going to continue. It's not going to work out. But I have worked on getting to know people better, doing a little bit better training. And some of it is just the trial and error of the person who comes across really well at the beginning may not be the right person for the job once they get into it. And I'm not sure a perfect way to figure that out ahead of time. I think one of the things is just going on a trial basis. Hey, let's give this a couple months and see if it works, and we'll reevaluate it almost quarterly.
And I think that's a really great approach. And I mean, there's a saying, and it's hire slow, fire fast, right? And it is a process, but having a contract basis is really, that's good. I'm glad you found some people, but they're people, right? So they're going to be different. There's going to be different levels and experiences, and sometimes people don't show really their true colors until a little bit in, right? And so it's just part of the process, I think. But I'm glad you found some people.
Well, and that's the challenge, I think, when you're a small business owner, and so much of what you're promoting is your brand. It's so associated with me that it's really hard to find someone to do a good enough job who's not me.
And I think that is really, besides for hiring is hard, like I'm familiar with Megan's business and people want Megan. Like she's been around long enough and doing it long enough, and she's taught their older kids, and so just the concept of another person being there is hard. And I know I face this, I want to build this giant education company. Well, no, people just want me. So I think that is hard too. Like, are you a personality brand business, or can you legitimately scale up with people not going, no, I want her? I think that's hard too.
But I think every business comes to that, right? I mean, like, if you want to, like, and you have to realize that when you're doing some preliminary work, right? Like, just like, if you want to grow, like, you don't scale. You just don't. Like, we learn it throughout everything in life. And so, like, if you want it to be you, then it needs to be you. But, like, if you want to change that route, then you have to get your people comfortable with seeing other people. I mean, it's kind of one of those things we just learn as business owners, that just like, okay, you can't clone yourself until, except in Photoshop, which I like to do every once in a while just to dream about it, but but you just can't do it. So, like, it's either you're going to be comfortable with that, or you have to make a plan to be like, okay, this is the trajectory, and I need more people in order to do it, or be comfortable with where it is. But that's cool that you are hiring, and it is hard to turn a brand if you're trying to grow it, especially if you've been doing it for a long time and people are very, very stuck and just like, nope, I want you. So. And
I also find that if you have a business that's yours, that you've built, that is your baby, you kind of have to, in the motherly sense, like, allow it to grow and allow it, like, I have to tell my 3.5-year-old, no, you can't have that, even though I know he wants it so bad, right? But I know what's good for him. And, like, if you can't distance yourself from those clients a little bit and say, well, my time's at a premium, I have some other options for you. You have to, as you get more successful, learn how to say no even better and even better. And just like that kid, right? They're going to kick and scream. They're going to say, I want that now. But if you keep catering to that, they're going to stay stuck in that development stage forever. So good on you for trying to clone yourself and scratching, trying to get it, elevated and things. I struggle with the same stuff, so I hear you.
No, it's an interesting process. I just was telling Chandra I hired another assistant tonight. But my question to you is, Megan, for the people that didn't work out, hindsight being 20/20, did you have a feeling and you forced a little bit, or hindsight being 20/20 where you're like, I still would have made the same decision knowing what I know now? You know what I mean? Like, did they put their best foot forward that much, or did you kind of feel like, I think we'll try this out, I'll make it work?
Two that I'm thinking of. One, put best foot forward, looked good, seemed right, just didn't turn out to be right. Think he was looking for something other than what the job was. The second one, I thought that his intelligence and ability might be able to make up for a lack of personality. And that's where I should have seen that in working with clients, you have to have everything. And I'm working specifically in education. This guy was hired to teach an SAT prep class. So it doesn't matter how smart he is, he needs the personality to go along with it. And, we can't replace intelligence with 100% charming personality, but you can't cover a lack of personality with incredible intelligence either.
Yeah. No, very interesting. That's always a great question for me to listen to, because I'm always like, I know there's been times I'm probably 80-20. 80, I should have listened to my gut. 20%, I think I would have made the same hire, but you just never know. All right, Lauren, you are up. We get to listen to your lesson learned this week in business.
Hello. So I would love to offer more insight on the hiring someone thing, but I'm totally learning from you guys that I just learned a ton in that little session, because I have a VA and I'm back and forth on how to manage the whole situation, and I'm perfectionist as well. So I wish I had more insight on that, but I'm totally learning from you guys. But so my lesson, I have two little things, but one of them is more of a personal growthy thing, because I launched my business about 3.5 months ago, and ran myself totally into the ground, like totally burned myself out, like physically and mentally. And I was like, I'm quitting, I'm done. And, you know, and I always know when I do that, like, okay, something's really, really off on my balance. And so I've been focusing a lot on trying to kind of slow myself down and find some way of balancing, you know, the work plus the being a mom. And I'm finding it very challenging. So what I was working on this week is trying to find a way to be nicer to myself, because I am very, very hard on myself. I'm like the worst boss I've ever had, right? And so one thing that I figured out is, like, how do I prioritize my goals for the day? Like, I'll lay out, here's what I want to get done, but I don't look at how do I want to feel, you know, like what's important for me today. And I've been prioritizing my own mental stability, basically, and like feeling of peace and calm over anything else in my business. And so that sort of values judgment has really shifted like everything for me. If I look at my, like, what do I need to get done right now, and I feel really stressed out by a bunch of things, and I say, wait, my inner peace is more important than how much I get done and how I please that mean voice in my head. So I'm going to go back and simplify and let things go and figure out what I can take off my plate. But that whole values idea of like looking at my inner peace and my mental sanity, really, which I was losing a few weeks ago, putting that really high on my priority list is really helping me evaluate what to get done, and is helping me find some semblance of balance in this like mess of raising my daughter's almost 2. I have a toddler, and, you know, this business. So that's really helped me. On the business side, I found a really fun tool, Right Tag. Have you guys heard of this? Where you find, it helps you discover hashtags. So like on, you know, Twitter, I'm a big Twitter person, but I don't have any idea how to like use hashtags or find useful ones besides just searching off the top of my head. But Right Tag like helps you figure that out. It's really, I'm just learning how to use it, but I was so excited when I found it. So maybe that can help someone else who's like struggling with hashtags. Crap.
No, I've heard of that one. I just never I started it and never did it, so I need to check that back out again. Have you noticed anything change in your business since you made the shift? Like, have you been more productive maybe that you didn't realize, or just?
I've been less hard on myself for not being productive, which has in turn actually made me more productive, if that makes any sense. Because like when the more hard on myself I am, the less productive I am, because that's when I procrastinate, that's when I like don't know what to do and I feel stressed out about it, so I go look at Facebook. So doing this like whole value judgment thing is really like helped me go, you know what, actually I just wasted 15 minutes, but my inner peace is more important than my productivity. So I'm going to let it go and not be mad at myself. And in turn, it kind of frees me up to make different decisions, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I'm proud of you. I'm not good at that. Anybody, feel free to chime in. I have nothing to say because I am.
You see all the bobbleheads on the bottom? So like a bobblehead.
It's the release.
Well, and I think, like, it seems to be, like, okay, there's always a theme of the show. It kind of seems to be, like, this show's theme is, like, this whole perfectionism, go, go, go. And I think you really, truly, as an entrepreneur, business owner, and especially if you have children, have to, like, conquer that early in the business or it doesn't work. Like, I know when I first started my very first business 12 years ago, I actually hired a coach to help me with nothing but my perfectionism. And I think if you don't kind of get that out of the way, you get stuck and you can't move forward in your business.
Totally.
Agreed.
Yeah, amen.
Sorry, I was gonna say, like I said, it's my worst feature. It's like, screw me, I gotta get stuff done. It's horrible. And I'm suffering health-wise. I mean, not suffering, but every time I'm like, my fiance's a chiropractor, and he's like, oh, this hurts, or this is in pain. What is it? He's like, it's same thing it's been in the past 10 years I've known you. It's all stress, you know? It's like, oh, okay, well, screw that. I'll just be in pain. Just adjust me and move on. But, yeah, so I'm horrible about it. I need to be better. Because my problem was when I had kids, instead of saying, oh, okay, I need to take some breaks, it's like, just pile them on to everything else. I'll juggle this, and yeah, so it's a downfall of mine. All right.
Well, and I was going to chime in. I struggle with it because part of what I work with students on is college applications. Well, that has to be perfect. So I spend half my time at work preaching perfection. If you're solving SAT questions, you've got to be accurate. You need to be perfect. But then I can't take that advice in moving forward in my own business, or I would never get anywhere.
No, and I practiced law for 7 years before I was an entrepreneur, which is the worst career ever if you're a perfectionist. Like people screaming at you for like missing a comma somewhere. So like that, trying to like deprogram myself to be an entrepreneur because it's the total opposite.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. All right, Chandra, you are up.
Yeah, and I just wanted to tag one about being your own boss, and I forget the quote, but it's just like you will probably be your worst boss. Like that's just a fact. And there are ways around it, and I can't think of the books that I've read to conquer that. But yeah, good luck with the being kinder to yourself, because we all need to be. My lesson of the week, I learned the term brain crack, as in like the drug, not an external drug. It's an internal, like what your brain does, and it's on this path of perfectionism, and it's the idea being better than the result if you actually do it. So you start thinking of something that you were going to do, and you've been thinking about doing it for 2 years. The idea of that, whatever the result of that business, of that podcast, of that book, of whatever, becomes so great in your mind that it could never live up to it. And you become addicted to the idea. Oh, and it falls into this perfectionist thing, like, right? You become addicted to the idea rather than what a realistic result will be, or that it has been successful. And it's interesting. I can't think of the name. I should have brought up the name of the guy who coined the term. I think in 2006, he was the first person to do that. But yeah. So it's interesting to see that, to hear that whole thing about ideas and perfectionism and moving past it. Basically, that's a thing, and it's not just. I thought it more so in women than men, and I heard the term originally on a 2-guy podcast. It's called HI, and I'm really into that. But yeah, brain crack. Don't do it.
Oh man.
Sorry.
My question. Oh, go ahead, Andrea.
Oh, I was going to say, I think this carries over more than to just like the business. So like you have, like I do this like in just personal life. So you go on vacation and I've got it built up. This is going to be awesome. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be the best thing ever. And then you get there and you're like, oh, it's nice, but it's not quite the same. I think we do that in everything. And I think the longer you sit on it, like the more it is. So like if you plan the vacation 8 months out, it is built up so giant in your head that it's honestly almost impossible for it to live up to that. And you have to kind of learn to let go and just be like, all right, it's going to turn out the way it's going to turn out.
Yeah, and that is that, that perfectionist part that's really, really difficult to get past, because it's not going to be that. Like everybody has this idea of what it's like to win the lotto, what it's like to go to Disney, spend 3 months on vacation in another land, and like you don't think about all the other things that happen that really happen in real life. Like you have to eat, you have to sleep, you have to air conditioners break, or whatever. I mean, it's really interesting. It's a really interesting thought, and also just like show up, like get that momentum going. I think Alissa, spoke about it in her first response, and it's just like it really is important just to like get momentum in whatever that idea is instead of sitting on it. So.
Well, I have the same thing in my work, because students are looking for the perfect college, and they spend so much time trying to imagine what it's going to be like.
Mm-hmm.
And colleges are trying to sell students to get them in the door. They're not showing them the construction that's happening, the ugly dorm they might end up in. And they walk on campus as freshmen and are so disappointed that this is not the dream that they had built up over 4 or more years. And now it's the reality of, well, how am I supposed to do this? And I think a lot of people do that in their careers as well. I was so disappointed. It was not like LA Law.
Career, marriage, kids, life, it goes throughout everything. It's just like, oh, this is work? This is work. Yes, it is. My first college, I went to a couple. The joke was you pay your tuition and then it starts to snow, because it was in the Catskills in New York, and it was just like it's just like for Parents' Day they put up this whole buffet and then it just starts to snow and it's total crap the rest of the year. So
Well, no, and this is so interesting because I say this about, and I never had a term for it, but when I was pregnant for my first child, I did not want him. I was terrified of being a mother. I did not want to be a mother. I wanted to put him up for adoption, all of these things. But birth to me was the beginning of the end. Okay, so everybody's like, you're not going to sleep. Being a mother's horror. Nobody tells you the good. They always tell you, oh, you have to change crappy diaper. Everybody gives you the bad. So where most mothers have this, when the baby comes out, they're gonna, and they're gonna have this moment, and the baby's just gonna jump on their breast, and everything's super easy. I never had that vision. I had it like, this is gonna be the worst few months of my life. But what happened was, I had expected so bad that every moment I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is awesome. Like, he smiled at me. I'm so happy. But then when I'd say to people, oh God, I actually like being a mother. I got him to sleep through the night. I enjoy this. They're like, oh, well, just you wait. Just you wait till he's 6 months or 9 months. And I'm like, what? Wait, what? Whoa. I thought the 3 months was bad. What are you talking about? But motherhood has been so different for me because TJ didn't fulfill any void for me. Everything was fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was just this great addition, and I never had a term for it. But it's so true, because I'm like, why am I so different from other mothers? Like, it's much more relaxing for me. It's much more, not that every day's easy, but it was just such a different way of, I always call it backward parenting. I kind of backed into it, and it was just like, oh my God, this is amazing, versus where I saw so many times these people expected to have a baby and just be like, oh my God, everything's fixed now.
You had reverse brain crack.
Yeah, exactly. But it's the same thing. It's the same thing with moms. They expect they expect that baby to come and life's going to be perfect. This is all they've ever wanted, and life is going to every missing piece is just going to fix right in or fill right in. And you see so many moms really struggling with, why don't I like my child all the time? This is all you know what I'm saying? Like, why am I frustrated with my kid? Why do I still feel this void that I thought was going to be filled by this?
Yeah, but it is still, am I the only one freezing?
No,
I hear you. Yeah, we see you.
Okay, sorry. You see me? Okay. I do think this is just like not a problem. I think this is basically, this just goes on throughout life. So like, I have come to terms this year, this is my year of the pivot, and I stopped taking clients in the middle, July. But it's like, what do you do after you find success, right? For whatever that is, when you marry the person, when you find your soulmate, when you have your kid, when you have that successful business that sells for, millions or not. Like, when you reach success, what happens next? And there is always this idea that okay, once I reach this plateau, everything is going to be fine. And it never is. Until the day we die, there will always be what's next. And then this brain crack. So it's just like, start the momentum on whatever it is you want to do, because whatever it is that you want to do, like, now's the time to start to go for it, because it's all intertwined. And it drives me crazy that we try so hard to separate, like, family and personal and business and all this stuff. And it's just like, it's all the same. Like, it really is all the same. And we have to just get over ourselves, get out of our own ways, and go. That's my word for 2015. Go.
Can I just share something that I did this very thing in 2012? I took a leap, went to this training like halfway across the continent, had no idea, had 2 little kids at home, and I decided I was going to start this gratitude movement, right? This thanks a million thing. And I printed up all these gratitude notes that looked like money and all these other ones that had like the infinity symbol, blah, blah. Anyway, can I just tell you today, I got notification that someone was inspired by the millennial movement to thank a million people, and there's a book written about it out on Amazon that was published in October. It wasn't perfect.
That is awesome.
And I am like blown away that that thing grew wings, and like I don't have ownership of it anymore. You know, like it just and I can't, like my skin is like goosebumping all over the place. It wasn't. I didn't expect it to go anywhere. Like I fought it and I stressed it and I was like, I'm going to use it. I'm going to give it to people. It was such a mess. And today, holy cow. So be messy. Just do it. Like, whatever.
Oh, that's awesome.
Hell
That's
yeah.
really- All right, that's awesome. No, so true. All right, Andrea, you are up.
Well, in our theme concept, what I was going to say that I learned this week was I think one of the hardest things as a human being is taking criticism and then like processing that and dealing with it. So like I had a random email from the grammar police, and I'll just call them the grammar police because there's multiple of them out there, and for the most part they had kind of left me alone. So this guy came in and was like, you used the wrong word here, there's a couple misspellings, and there actually weren't misspellings, they were like words just not the right way, which I have a tendency to do. You know, and at first I was like, oh, screw you, like, blah, blah, like very, like, kind of hostile towards the feedback. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to go fix this mistake. And then I thanked him because that's the nice thing that you're supposed to do when somebody helps you. And then his reply back was, well, there's more on that page. Like, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to let that one go. We're going to let it fly. But then I gave it a few days, and then today I was like, you know what, I'm going to go into that page, and I'm just going to run my own little spell grammar check because, you know, I did it, and I'm sure I missed some stuff, even though I went through it. And, you know, it was all minor stuff. It really, truly was minor stuff. It wasn't stuff that you were like, oh, my gosh, she has no brain. But I fixed it all, and I kind of had one of those moments afterwards that I'm like, you know, sometimes it kind of is no fun at all to get that. But on the other hand, it does make my business look way more professional. And, you know, if I ever notice there's like double periods or, you know, something wrong, it does affect the way you look at that business. So my lesson was really kind of like, even though the criticism isn't fun, and sometimes it's just totally wrong, a lot of times there's some token of truth in there, and if you grab that token of truth, it actually helps you become a better business owner. So you don't have to be perfect. Get it out there, and then the grammar police will come fix it for you.
Yes, and so that's what I was going to say to you. I mean, good for you for getting it out there, right? I mean, like that's the most important part, that it's out there for someone. And then, yeah, critique always stinks, and I've had to, you know, being a tough girl who's ultra competitive. I grew up playing sports, so I'm just like, rah, and then but going into the art scene and then having people like, they will rip you apart. And at first, it's just like, what? No. And if you're getting angry about something, usually that means there's some truth to it. But like now I see critique as basically it's help. Like if someone, it is help. And even though it stinks sometimes, but if there is truth to it, and you have to know who's critiquing you, right? Like if it's just like an opinion of someone who's just trying to troll or be whatever, you have to know where it's coming from. If it's just an actual grammar, I am going to put in the footer of all my websites from here on out, basically, I have learning differences. I am dyslexic, so if you find a spelling error, donate $1 to your local school system, and and do this. And it's just like, I'm happy to hear it. However, it's just what it is, and it does make you better to see what you can fix, right? Like, I mean, if you use it as a tool, as a stepping tool to be like, hey, thanks. But if someone, but also being the perfectionist panel that we are, that type of thing can hold us back from even putting something out there, which we need to like not do. Put it out there, and if somebody says something about it, figure out whether it's true or not, fix it, don't fix it, whatever, but just be proud that you have your stuff out, right? Like, and out there, and then grow. But I think critique is good. Like, I like it. I appreciate critique. I get more. I think you get more from someone, especially, in whatever it is, if you're writing or if you're doing artwork of any kind. Even if you're, if you're playing a sport, like somebody saying, okay, maybe you should do it this way, or like, have you thought of doing it this way? And there's a way to teach and critique without being a jerk too. But that's the only way you can grow as well. And if everybody's just saying, oh, you are so awesome, which I get a lot. Don't get me wrong, but if everyone's doing that all the time, you're never ever going to grow. I think critique is good, and good for you for pushing past that sucky feeling of being like.
Well, you're so true. It is actually completely really helpful. And like when I did wedding planning, after every single wedding, I was like, okay, like where would we have done it different? How could we tweak? And there's always something that got added to my to-do list, whether it was the bride saying it or me saying it. It does really help you grow. So it's just more about like kind of getting past your ego. And to me, it always seems like these emails show up when you're like at the worst possible time. Like you had the worst day, you finally had that glass of wine, you're relaxing, and dang it, that email comes in, and you're like, really? So yeah, it helps, but not always fun.
Yeah, you know what? For me, it's like if someone's taking the time to read my website and take the time to email me, it's like, yes, people are on my website. And also whenever someone criticizes me, and I got criticized a lot as a lawyer, right? I would like to look at them and think, well, if they're going to talk to me that way, like, what do they say to themselves in their head? And then I kind of like feel a little bit of compassion for them and be like, whoa, they're probably kind of stressed out, and who writes an email to someone putting negativity out into the world? Like, what kind of negativity must they live in their lives? So I don't know. I try to think of it that way, and that kind of makes me less angry at them. And then the feedback can be interesting. I totally agree. I got railed. I had my first business was in the bar exam space, helping people deal with test anxiety in the bar exam, and like I would put up ads places and get people just like writing these horrible things about me, and I'd be like, oh. And it makes me mad at first, but there are times when I go, oh, my marketing clearly isn't clear enough because he just called me all sorts of names. So maybe I should find some more clarity in my marketing. Update my bio so he has fewer things to call me. I don't know.
I like the idea of reversing it on them as what's in their head, because that's so true. It's usually, most of the time, criticism is more about them than actually you.
I would say 99% of the time. I'm sorry, 99% of the time. It's the same with the judges, right? Like people that are like totally judgy people, they are judging themselves in and out. They're like the biggest jerks to themselves. And I thought of making the hug, do you need a hug app for trolls? So like anytime a troll comes up on a website, you post a like, aw, you need a hug. You've never been hugged before. And it's kind of true, right? Like just people that are just like totally jerks to themselves. So
yeah, if you're that negative that you have to spread more negativity into the world, like, I feel bad for you. Like, go do something. Go hug a puppy or something. Like, it's got to be something better you can do with your time.
Well, and I think there's a difference too. Like if you're reading my website and you find a typo, it's like walking around with your fly down, right? Like I appreciate you taking the time to tell me there's a typo. Like I'm totally cool with that. If you're a troll and you're just being a jerk to be a jerk, go get a hug, or go get laid or go get something, because something is obviously not happening in your life, and whatever it is, the trolls are a very sad life. I just look at them as a very sad existence of a life. I don't understand reading the people who follow people and then just hate on them. I'm like, what? Like, I've seen it with Kim Kardashian. Like, you're so stupid. You're a bad mom. It's like, then don't follow her. Like, don't put her in your feed. Like, what is wrong with you that you hate this person this much, but yet you have the need to follow them? I don't understand it. So that's where I don't get it.
No, I think that's true. I've never understood that either. I'm like, who has the time for this? Like, I am just, if I can actually, like, I file a nail that broke within 2 days, I'm in heaven. So I don't get the trolls. I'm like, how do you do this?
No, it's so true. It's so true. All right. Well, I know we're going to pass our 45-minute time mark because we have 6 people, which is totally cool. It's Christmas. We're going to give. But I'll do mine's not going to be that long. So it's funny is this week I was like, oh, I had this topic. I'm going to talk about this. And then something else happened. I'm like, oh, I'm going to talk about this. And then today, being Christmas, it was just a gift that kept on giving. So I am going to step on a soapbox here and go off on a tangent. And because I had a glass of wine, hopefully I will make this non-explicit. But I don't know how any of you guys feel about this, but meeting you at a networking event and talking to you does not give you the freaking right to put me on your email list. You can email me back. You are more than welcome to. Me sending you an email and saying, hey, would you like to be a podcast guest? I love talking to you. Would you like to meet for coffee? Does not give you the flipping right to put me on your email list. And just seeing me walk by the street does not give you the right to put me on your email list. And I'm so angry by this. Like, one guy, I swear to God, this is a true story. I met him at a networking event. All of a sudden I started getting these random emails from this. I wish I had his name and I would call him out because I want everybody just... Ugh. So I'm like, tried to unsubscribe. It said I unsubscribed. Got another email from him. Wrote him back. Said, take me off your freaking list. Got another email from him. Called his office. And I said, so help me flippin' God. I get another email from you. I am going to come down to your office and knock some heads around. Like, this is not cool. How did I get on this list? Oh, you went to an event or you met at a networking event. I'm like, whoever is practicing this, stop. It is not cool. I will spam you. I will mark you as spam. I want nothing to do with you. Relationships. I can't say it enough. Like, I got 4 people today. I unsubscribed and called them spam because we met at a networking event. One of the women, I had actually said, hey, I loved meeting you. I reached out to her. I said, I love meeting you so much. I would love if you'd be a podcast guest and we could talk about sales. Would you love to do sales? Never heard from her, but she was kind enough to stick me on her flippin' email list. So, anyway. I don't know what you guys think of this.
Yeah.
Oh, amen.
Yes.
Not
Just
cool.
step off.
Well, I actually think it comes down to people don't realize that's actually against the law. I don't think people
You're
get
right,
that.
yeah.
But it's still tacky. I don't want to
Yeah.
go to a networking event to be sold to. I want to go to a networking event to meet you and learn more about your business, but not for you to sell me stuff. Completely agree.
And totally, I mean, it is the reason I think that, well, I don't think, I know, at least personally, I don't really go to traditional networking events in general. I mean, for this reason in particular. And I also stay away from big conferences for this reason in particular. I mean, it's just like, I have a no jerk policy, I said in the last episode. Like, I don't allow it in my realm. And, you know, like, what makes anybody think that that's okay? And it's the same today as it was 100 years ago, right? Like, don't be a jerk. If you meet somebody, just, I don't know, be one-on-one. Don't put them on your phone list. Don't put them on your mailing list. Like, none of it. Like, if you're not going to have a conversation with me about my needs in particular, if I've asked you about your needs or what you're selling, then that's fine. But, like, I've not, you know, if you don't give permission for that, then get out of my face, you bad soul.
I was at a Brendan Bouchard event maybe it was like 6 months ago, but he actually told the audience, don't do that. Like, he actually, and by the way, don't add people to your email list without, like, he made like an announcement to tell everyone that's not cool. Because it must, so I haven't had anyone do it, but it's got to be that common.
Yeah, absolutely. This thing that had me stuck this week, where I was like, oh my God, it has to be perfect. I'm putting together a non-typical relationship building, third wave thinking, non-hunt kill sales, but like farm grow relationship kumbaya type of thing. And I'm scared crap over here going like, who's gonna come to my house? Like everybody. Everybody's gonna come because this is the habit. This is what's going on in the marketplace. And it's sad, but I call them wheel 'em and deal 'em card events. You don't want somebody coming up to you, hi, who are you? Here's my card. Want to call me? Like, no, ew, gross. Bleh. Don't talk to me. I feel like I've just been like oozed with slime. Yuck. So thank you for letting me air that out because like I feel so much better. Like knowing we're all in that bucket. All the crabs are in the bucket trying to grab each other down and spam each other on email. Like, can you call me? Like, I took my email address off my cards for this very reason. Like, it says Alissa Bickar, consultress. If you're nice, I'll tell you it's consultress@alissabickar.com. But, like, it's not on my card. Don't assume that you can get in touch with me. You have to call me.
That's a great idea. I may have to do that because it's just, I never thought of that. You think somebody, I can't. People need your conference. It's all I can say because I can't believe how much this is still happening. 4 emails in one day. I'm like, Merry freaking Christmas to you too, buddy. Like, get me off your list and don't ever contact me again. I never want to do bit. Even though we talked about me potentially using you.
No, I'm not.
Never. I won't. I'm just like that adamant against it because it's cheap, it's slimy. I don't like. I'm with Chandra. I don't do a jerk policy. I don't do slime. I don't do used car salesman. I don't. That sounds horrible. I do not have sex with used car salesmen as I came off.
See, no one was. Why do you get the that's what she said, like a total, like, not that's what she said moment? I love the way we're ending our holiday show with like a total like fuse with them.
Oh, man. A good tool to get rid of those people is unroll.me. Just saying.
Yeah.
Go in there, unsubscribe all at once, and let it filter everybody out.
Well, and so I use Enroll Me. There are people I subscribe to that I don't want in my everyday feed, but I want to see what's going on. I don't, and I've had a lot of conversations about this. If I subscribe to your list, I'm not going to open it every day. I just won't. I don't have time to read your weekly emails. I know where your blog is. Most of them point me to a blog, so I don't need to go there. Sorry, my dog is. So use Enroll Me for that. My thing is, don't you ever add me to a list that I don't need to be added to, just because we had a conversation. Like, that is just, I will not only put you in my Enroll Me, I will mark you as spam so you get knocked later on because I think it's wrong.
It's also like, I mean, what movie is it? Not Carlito's Way. I don't know. A New York movie. That's where I'm from. But where he's just like, he gives a kid $20 and he doesn't pay him back, right? And he's just like, yo, he owes me $20, and he's just like, don't worry about it. He'll never ask you. Good thing you lost $20, right? Like, he'll never ask you for anything again. It kind of is the same thing, right? Like, you do not want to be associated with this person ever again, instead of a sheep in wool's clothing, or the other way around. Yeah. Where I'm from, we totally mess up cliches. So, but it's kind of true. I mean, like, it's vexing in one way, but in the other way, it's just like, all right, well, I know this person is a total jerk, and they're not going to get far. They might get that 1999 salesman thing and make some money, but like that's not a fulfilled life. And I think everybody on the panel and everybody we talk to and listening to this are people that want like this whole, like, everything to be concentric, and it's just like business, life, and everything, and don't be a jerk, yo.
I agree. No, because I even did a conference where I taught something. I told them, I'm like, you guys, I'll send you this document I'm talking about. Give me your email address. I never even added those people to my list. I sent them the email I promised them. I said, here's what I promised you. If you guys want more training, go here, get it. They had the option to opt in at that point, but I wouldn't even do that. I wouldn't, even though they handed me their email address and said, I want to hear more from you. Maybe that's a bad sales call. I don't know. But I said, all right, here's what I promised you. If you want more, go get it. Go here. But I still won't even do it that sense. So I don't know. Maybe I'm shooting myself in the own foot, but I'm doing all right, so we'll see.
I've done the same thing, Erin. Like if I'm presenting, I'll be like, well, if you give me your email, I'll send you this. But I don't add them to my list. I'm like, if you want to be, here you go. Because I think it's one thing to be presenting and saying, well, here's some extra information from the presentation, and a totally different thing to say, I want to hear from you every single week.
Right. I agree. All right. I feel so much better. I'm going to have another glass of wine to like calm myself down. But I'm like, are you kidding me? Like I was like on a spam raid there for a minute. All right. So you guys, all of you, Megan, Lauren, Alyssa, thank you guys so much for stepping in tonight. I'm so stoked we had so many people for Christmas. I can't thank you guys enough for coming on. Like I said at the beginning of the call, if you guys want to keep the conversation going, head over to bit.ly/KNOW business, and we will see you over there. We always add in what we talk about and other things that's happening during the week. So as always, thank you guys everybody for watching and for listening. Very much appreciated, and have a very happy holiday, and we will see you on New Year's. Bye everybody.
Bye, thank you.
Bye, guys.